Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of Six Fantasy Artists at Work. Dream Makers. Now this book includes Melvyn Grant, Michael Kaluta, Juliet Heller, Berni Wrightson, Chris Moore, Charles Vess. Some I know well, some I do not know well at all. This is edited by Martin Dean and by text Chris Evans. I assume not the actor. However, this is by Paper Tiger. And this book came out in 1988 and it's about 130 pages in total. So I'm just going to take this off and I'll turn that off. I can then show the book with a bit easier than before. Now, that's the contents and you can see there. So there's about, 18 or so pages for each of the artists. And you've got an introduction there, Chris Evans, and then you've got some of the work. So Charles Vess, you've got a lovely picture of Charles Vess there in his studio and obviously outside as well. You've got obviously him drawing there. I love Charles Vess's work, always amazing. Obviously Neil Gaiman and all those sort of things. Also, of course, with one of my favourites, Joanne Harris. I love Joanne Harris's work and there's Charles Vess work as well. And there's some more examples there. Now, let's just go on to there. There's quite a bit of text with giving all details about, not too much particularly, I think, of giving information behind the scenes. It would be nice if there was been a lot more detail, maybe lots of pictures of like all their different inks and paints and everything they use and all the sort of technique. There's really not a huge amount of that. There's information, obviously, of what they were doing at the time, because this is a few years ago now. This is so it's not an up-to-date book. So still some lovely pencil sketches as well as lovely paintings there. And let's just go through Melvyn Grant there. And you've got, I'd say you've got one, really that's about it, one picture. I mean, they could have done a bit more, I think, especially when the thing's called, let's see, it does actually say there, Six Fantasy at Work. Would have been really nice if there'd been a lot more photos of at work, but there's just literally one photo. And of course you've got examples of the work, which is fine, but I suspect lots of people probably have got many examples already. So I would have actually preferred more examples of them, sort of their state. Whenever I watch like Dave McKean or something, there's like he does these lovely YouTube videos and he's got like showing how he's doing his work, or he's got the backdrop of all his books and things. And you can like look at the books and think, wow, I got that book. And then you go and buy that book as well. I know, ridiculous. However, there's just very little. I mean, obviously just showing examples. There's Queen's Blade there. Some also reference. That's a little bit of reference work, so you can see the reference. Not too many actually showing reference pictures. It would have been nice to have actually seen a little bit more like the model as well. I mean, I love. Let's just get to one of my favourites, Michael Kaluta. Now I love his work. So you've got a little bit more of his studio. Actually, that's probably about the best one in terms of showing all the studios. So you can see all obviously the books there and all the various artwork and various pens and all that sort of thing, inks and stuff. It's quite fascinating seeing that sort of stuff because you think, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I should look that up. I love drawing. So it's quite often I love seeing the details of what pens they use and things. You think, oh, I must get that pen. Not that it means that I'm going to be able to draw anything remotely as good with that pen as they are, but it's nice to get the top quality things. So, you know, you can at least work with that sort of, hopefully, at some point. Yeah, unlikely. But there's a few, look at Stealer of Souls. Absolutely beautiful picture there. Starstruck. I have to say I was never a mega fan of that series, Starstruck. So I actually haven't got a copy of it. But it's one of those ones I occasionally pick up and I think it's the sort of thing I should like, but one of those ones I've just never warmed to for some weird reasons because I love most of his other work. It's just one that I've never actually... But anyway, there's a few examples there. But again, not a huge amount really. He's got a bit here. Colours of some of my pieces are done with Dr. Martin, etc., etc. So he mentions about the dyes and things, but still not a huge amount. Chris Moore, you got some pictures there, obviously his studio there again. Love that one I've seen. Very unusual picture there. Sort of, and let's get through to, oh no, I love this one. This is lovely. The trouble is quite often with a lot of these artists, I always think I would love to see a complete sort of book, a massive book, a single book on some of these artists would be great. I mean, I would buy them because I love art books by artists, so I've got quite a few. So this one, I don't think, and actually there is actually no bibliography either. I mean, a bibliography would be nice, like all their works. There's nothing of that sort of thing. So got some more examples there. And then through to probably the best, as far as I'm concerned, Berni Wrightson. I love Berni Wrightson's work. Of course, you've got some excellent work there. And Killing a Vampire. And of course, the classic Frankenstein. Absolutely brilliant. Completely impossible to get now, I think. That's one of those ones, whenever I look online and I look around for it, it's quite expensive to see copies of that. And that obviously came out many, many years ago. I'm surprised no one's brought out a really sort of definitive, this is the full-on, I think that maybe there was an artist edition. Now, I would love to see that as an artisan edition. If that ever comes out as an artisan edition, I will be buying it in an instant. So that's some lovely examples then of his work there. And that's it. So that's this book. That's Dream Makers. Like I say, it's a pity that there really could have been a so much better book. I mean, it's a great book. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's one of those books you think, why didn't they do a little bit more actually showing, you know, like the artist sort of behind the scenes, a little bit more showing all the materials he uses. There's really very little of that, unfortunately, but as well as bibliography as well. I love bibliographies where you can see references to maybe articles that you can go and do some more research and understand a little bit more of their techniques, as well as obviously find more examples of their work, which is very important. Of course, now with the web and things, people can search on the comic databases and things and find a lot more of that as well. But still, anyway, so that's Dream Makers. Very enjoyable, but I say one of those books that I think could have been probably 100% better than this, but it was still worth getting and yeah, enjoyable.